Hi, welcome to another episode of the Investor's Guide to Hard Money Lending. Today we have another guest with us, Steven Zapalla. Steven Zapalla is from New York. He's been investing now in Memphis in kind of the multifamily space from New York. So I'm glad to have you on the.
Thank you. We're happy to be here. Absolutely.
It's kind of a whirlwind deal for you here in Memphis right now. You came in yesterday, leaving out tomorrow.
Yep. It's every time it's usually a quick 3 day jaunt, little 48 hour, 72-hour session. It's always jam packed, our itineraries. Every time we're out here, it's always wonderful. We're meeting somebody new or seeing something different, and we try to make it out here every 3-4 months or so for the most part.
Yeah, and so going into that. You do use hard money lending. You've used us for hard money lending
Yes.
to purchase these things. How important would you say it is you being out of state when you're getting these deals financed, you're doing the rehabs on them to make that effort to be present every couple months to see?
It's extremely difficult as an out-of-state investor, wherever you are, to navigate the market that you're purchasing in. For us, we've been fortunate to be able to align ourselves with some great boots on the ground out in the Memphis area, starting with whether or not we're purchasing properties from wholesalers, real estate agents. We have our property manager going out and checking all our properties. We have our contractors who are giving us true rehab budgets. It took a while for us to get some good contractors, and it took a while for us to really align ourselves with the people that we can truly trust, who live by the same ethos and values that we have. So it definitely took some time to be able to do that. It's a lot of trust, honestly, when you're 1,000 miles away, to be able to not look and be able to see and walk and touch these properties, and getting just these videos of the rehabs, and sometimes you're getting out and you're looking at them, and maybe it's not up to what you thought it was to be from there. So it's a little bit more involved on that standpoint, but we are slowly and surely building a better team around us, and it's integral to purchasing.
And that leads me down another path there with your contractors, your trusted contractors. We see that in hard money lending. A good contractor or a bad one can make or break you.
Absolutely.
Because you've got your rehab budget, you've set that, and then if they say, well, I'm going to need another $50,000, and that's not in the budget. So tell me, how did you go about finding your trusted contractors?
Yeah, so a lot of it has been through networking, speaking to other investors who are doing business out here. We kind of started off utilizing some of the contractors through our property manager, in which were great, in terms of little stuff, cosmetic stuff here and there. Then as we started meeting other investors who were doing larger, moderate to substantial rehabs, bringing in some of these individuals for quotes, we've started piecemealing a lot of our work. Let's say if we have a great HVAC guy or a great electrician or a plumber, things of that nature. Shaun, my partner here, he heads up our operations side of things, so he can speak a little bit more intelligently to that. But finally, we've gotten to the point where we have a great team around us. 901 Home Solutions is one of our contractors that we work with a lot. They have handled a lot of our full gut rehabs in terms of from our single families and a majority of our smaller multifamily units on that end. And we have a couple. We don't just stick with one contractor, but we found a good 2 or 3 that we're happy with, that we trust, and we're kind of just moving it out at that speed.
I got you. So on this, because multifamily, you go anywhere from 5 units. You purchased a larger one recently of doing it. So, and you've got a couple single-family homes here in the Memphis area.
Yep.
What would you say on using hard money? What is different in that single-family resident space versus the larger multifamily, the smaller multifamily units when it comes to hard money, with how the draws go, with how the rehabs go, or the length of time that you need?
So definitely it's a longer sales cycle in terms of that. So in a typical single family, we can purchase something, and if it's a moderate rehab, have it rehabbed in 30 days time with a good contractor, and we're refining out in 90 days. With some of these smaller multifamily, from anywhere from 5 to 20 units, it may take 6, 7, 8, 9, almost a full year to be able to completely rehab these units, depending on if you're purchasing these. Is it a completely vacant complex, or 50% occupied? The 50% that are occupied, when are their leases are ending? If somebody's lease is through November, we have to honor that lease to that point in time. So there's a lot of other variables that come into play. So utilizing a hard money lender, communication and transparency in terms of the timeline. And if I'm not going to sell you in saying that I can have these 12 units completely rehabbed and refinanced out in 4 months, when I have all of a sudden 50% occupancy, and it's going to take some time to even divert them elsewhere. So I think having that communication on that is extremely important. And then having just the right lender to take you out on it if you're planning on keeping it and not reselling it. So just having that full communication in terms of ARV, we've had in the last 20 unit, there was a little bit of discrepancy in the ARV of where we thought the total price point would be on the back end. So, and especially in multifamily, there's maybe not as many comps to support some of these larger units that are out there. So that's always a difficulty. So there's multiple different facets of it. I'd say the biggest thing is just communication with the private lender in itself and being completely open about the deal.
Yes, and you bring that up of where there was discrepancy in the appraisal, but of working with it, we can be flexible. You got that other appraisal brought
Yep.
in. We were able to increase your rehab funds.
Correct.
So we can have that flexibility. Hard money can have that flexibility that not a traditional lender can't necessarily
Correct.
have. But you also talk about purchasing a property 50% occupied. That's for me personally. I like to have a property that's got some in a multifamily that's already got some occupancy in it.
Absolutely.
Because let's be real, the hard money note is not cheap, and it's going to
No.
be a longer time frame of multifamily. And so they're at least bringing in income to help pay that note too.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I prefer that way, especially depending on where you're buying. Having a completely vacant property could raise issues. You have potential break-ins or theft or anything along those lines. So having 50% occupied or 40 to 60%, at least you have individuals that are leaving there that are kind of patrolling the property in itself. And as you said too, that hard money note is coming every single month, and we need to have a little additional rental income coming in, can pay for that as we're rehabbing it is definitely a benefit. So for us, I would prefer something in that kind of ballpark of occupancy.
Yep. And then you also talk about you tenant placement and getting it refinanced out. How important to you is it in these multifamily spaces on the correct tenant placement?
Extremely important. So our tenant base is a pretty big mixed bag of cash tenants, voucher tenants, subsidy tenants. So depending on the location of the property, depending on the makeup of the property, we really look at things at more of a holistic approach to it. So for instance, we have a property in 536 Edith. It's in 126, closer to the medical district side, northern 126. And it's a single-story, 5-unit, all one-bedrooms. We happened to reach out to the VA, and we placed, I think, 3 out of 5 of them of VA tenants, all vets that were in their 60s and 70s. And it was a nice backyard, all single story, and it was a perfect fit for that present. And I think the other 2 units, I think both of them are almost like a retirement home over there. They're all in their 60s and 70s, and which is great too, because typically that age is going to stay at a longer time, so it's going to have a lower vacancy rate in terms of that. And then it may be, for instance, we have a property in the medical district where we kind of have a mixed bag of some MHA. We have cash tenants. We work a lot with Hospitality Hub, with Catholic Charities. So depending on the makeup, the location, it's a big difference in terms of that standpoint.
And you bring up the medical district, you bring up 126. We flipped a 10-unit on Hanover in 126.
Okay.
So, and we had kind of placement like that where we used Promise Corporation, where that was kind
Yes,
of
I've heard
placing
of them.
tenants
Uh-huh.
too as well. But on those, it's where they like to be because it's close to, a lot of times these people don't have transportation.
Correct.
Or their own transportation, so it's important to be close to the VA hospital, close to the med on those things. So looking at those can this be a property that a retail client not necessarily going to want, but you've got all these other people that need access to these facilities.
Correct. And being able to, every time we're here, the reason why we come out here so much is that we are walking into some of these programs who offer these subsidies, and we're introducing ourselves. We're saying, we're Steve and Shaun of Zapstone Properties. These are some of the vacancies that we have in the area. These are the types of product that we're delivering. All of our units, majority of our units that we're delivering are going to be turnkey renovated. So it's a quality, safe, clean product for these tenants, and obviously these programs that are assisting them would love to be able to deliver their client to something like that. So it's really getting out, and Promise Corp is somebody I've heard of, but it's somebody that we've never dealt with before, so I'd love maybe to have an introduction and reach out to them, and we can offer some of our vacancies in the future. We don't discriminate anybody into any of our units, and they just want a good human, good-hearted individual, and wherever the funds are coming from, and if we can offer assistance in terms of some quality housing on that end, that's what we like to offer.
Okay. And bringing in the offering a quality product. We have people that want to come in and use hard money to do these rehabs on this. but they also then want the top of the market rents. They want the 1,000 to 1,200
Can
for
be
the
realistic.
two ones.
Uh-huh.
But what do you say they need to think of on finishes for quality, like to get those type of rents, to get to where you're going to get those tenants to stay? What do you focus on
So
quality?
we like, depending on where we're purchasing in, we typically like to go a little bit more higher end. When I say higher end, instead of putting peel and stick laminate down, we're putting tile down. It's a small difference in terms of price. We get large format tile at a pretty good price. We have a great flooring contractor. So if we're going to do tile, and we're not just doing the kitchen area, we're going to go tile throughout the whole entire property because we are holding these things long term. And for us to save a couple bucks here to put peel and stick laminate down that in 3 years, 4 years later during the next turn we're going to have to put down again, it doesn't make sense for us. So we live by the ethos, if we're going to do something, do it right the first time. Thankfully, utilizing private money, we're able to get those rehab funds up front, where as long as we buy right, we know our ARV in the back end, we're going to be able to work it out on a number that we'll need to be able to rehab then. So definitely we err on the side of doing things in the correct way, doing brand new kitchens and bathrooms. A lot of the properties that we purchase sometimes maybe don't have central AC. So we've been putting in a lot of PTAC units. We don't really like gas too much, so if there's a property that has gas, we'll upgrade. Shaun is an electrician, so he doesn't come out and do it, but he can speak to our electricians. We'll upgrade the panel and we'll put PTAC units. We're doing on 981 North 7th Street that we utilized CoreLend's funding for. We are putting mini splits in those. So we tend to like to improve that way because we know that, believe it's hot out here today. we're not used to this heat back home in Long Island. So to offer that is a big value add to some of our tenants.
Exactly, and you've got to have air in Memphis.
Hey, amen.
You have to have that. So when it comes to you are out of state, so you utilize property management. How important is that when it comes to multifamily units to where you've got a good property management company in place?
Massive. We went through 2 property managers before we got to Mid-South Home Rentals. Chris Peak is the main owner-operator over there, and his team that he has put together is incredible. Everybody is professional, accountable, prompt. If they say they're going to do something, they do it. And finding a partner on that end where we are very active investors, we're very involved into our property, and anytime we need something, they are steering us in the right direction. And especially with these multifamilies, you might have, for instance, that 325 Greenlow that we have, it's 14-unit apartments on top of each other. We've had some leaks. The second floor goes into the first floor, and having somebody who, hey, God forbid that situation happens, they fielding those maintenance calls, they're sending a plumber out there ASAP to be able to handle the situation. So finding that alignment with a great property manager, and Crestcore has got a wonderful name in this area, is key. So I'd say for all your outside investors, vet out your PM first and then go buy second. That's the
Yes,
goal.
and you bring up Crestcore, and you're not with Crestcore, but there's going to be the right fit for everyone for a property management company. There are
course.
multiple good ones
Of
around
course,
the area. It's like
absolutely.
you found one that fits your needs and what you want to accomplish, and so
Yeah.
that's going to lead. And our goal is to, like here, we want you to have long-term success. We want you to keep rinse and repeat, basically, and
the
do
goal.
these things. So on multifamily, how do you go about, because you have to go about the rehabs in a little bit different way too, on what you're budgeted for it. How do you like to go in, like, what you look at, what do you use your average spend per unit, you would say, like on some of these multifamilies?
Yeah, so some of let's say most of the multifamilies that we have, and I think most of the multifamilies out here are 1 or 2 bedrooms. You're rarely seeing some that with 3 bedrooms or so.
Right.
And depending on if it needs a full gut, we've typically gone anywhere between 10 to 20 grand per unit, and that's putting in flooring. We can do a bathroom for around 5 grand or so. These are smaller kitchens, so it's a new cabinet, a little small countertop. Whether or not we're putting an appliance package in or not ties to it. So anywhere between 10 to 20 grand. Sometimes you walk into properties, bathroom was updated 5 years ago. It's cool. We just need to maybe put a new vanity in there, a new toilet. So 10 to 20 has been that normal range or so for doing these turns. It really just depends on what we're getting delivered at that point in time.
Okay, and also to bringing in for the rehabs, we see where people don't necessarily always, or borrowers, they're not taking into account the exterior, like, is there enough parking? Because some of these have been vacant or only 50% occupied, and you're wanting 100%, so
Correct.
you've got to account for parking, and then you may have cars there, they may not, but also too, then security. We like to tell people, make sure you've got parking, make sure you've got a security gate.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So out of our 5 properties, we don't have any security gates around it. John, who just purchased 139 Claybrook, he's got a nice security right around it, and that's such a big value add for tenants, in my opinion. They love being able to have the security coming in. They have their own private parking from there. So if we can add it, we try to. If not, we have some decent size. We have two gates. Oh, you're right. Two gates going into Dunlap. And if we could add whatever we can do that. And people like, not just a gravel driveway, if you can put a nice poured concrete driveway, that's definitely something. And beautifying the exterior is, before a tenant sees the interior unit, what do they see? They see the exterior of the property. So we can paint the building, we add dusk to dawn lights all above every single unit so that it's very bright at nighttime.
'Cause that's security right there.
Security right there. We'll redo any of the soffits in terms of that, and we'll paint the staircases. So we try to, you're right, people sometimes forget about the exterior and how much of a big play into it. So it's a lot of moving parts, and we try to do whatever we can within the budget that we are accounted for.
Yeah, and you've got to think of what your ARV is too. Like, what are these units going to appraise for? And then
Correct.
also, I want to get it refinanced. I want to get all of it refinanced. So
Correct. You want to pull out, well, it depends what your, typically we will pull out on a commercial multifamily loans, there's 75% LTVs. So that is the most point we're doing of that. So sometimes, hey, by doing some exterior improvements, that improves the value of the property. You might be able to get a little bit of better number on the back end in terms of your refi.
And so going out to refinance, because this is some other borrowers that are new to doing the multifamily, how do you go about finding that commercial financing for these multifamily properties?
Yeah, so 1 to 4 units is residential
Right.
refinancing. Anything 5 or more is considered commercial, so it's a little bit more scrutiny in terms of involved. You're not getting, you can pull out 80 LTV or 75 to 80 on residential. The max is typically 75, and that's not really the greatest rate at 75. The real better rates are 65 to 70. So we've used Dominion Financial a couple times. I think we used that on Castalia, which we utilized CoreLend for, as well as J.W. Williams. So both of those, we utilize Dominion Financial. We are working with Pathway Lending locally for the Dunlap property. So sometimes, especially I would advise anybody who is doing work in the larger commercial space, speak to local credit unions, local banks. A lot of times they'll offer some better rates and what they can take you out of if it works on the debt servicing route on that end. But Dominion has been one that we've used a couple times and we're happy with.
Good. Well, okay. What questions do you have for me?
Well, today was great. First of all, I want to say thank you. You guys, Sean, I, and John were in, for like I said, a couple of days. We came to the coffee and conversation today. And we've been seeing him on the Instagram page for a while, and we're all networking gurus. We're always seeking out the nearest event back home. So we finally got an opportunity to come this morning. We got to chat with, it was just funny, knowing this was coming up, I sent messages out to a couple of individuals that we do business with, and as instead of scheduling appointments, I'll meet you for lunch here, coffee here, hey, come to CoreLend's office.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful that you guys put that together, especially so frequently. Twice a month is a lot. Some people do events back home once a quarter. So the fact that you're consistently putting together offers so much value to not just investors, agents, insurance brokers, builders, loan officers, anybody who's doing business in this community, it would find extreme value of what we came here today. So appreciate that on that end. And for us, I want to, after this, I'd like to speak more about some of your ground up new construction products. That is a route that we are looking to go hopefully tail end of this year, if not in 2026. There's a good amount of land out here. In Long Island, there's no land. There's nothing you can buy out there. It's maybe you squeeze out a 60 by 100 parcel for $400,000 out here.
Gosh. And here you can get a lot for
Here,
$5,000.
a lot for $5,000. So we see a tremendous opportunity, and also just holding some of these small multifamily that were built in the 50s and 60s. You're dealing with a lot of maintenance over time, and so by building ground up new, we're going to hopefully keep that maintenance and repair cost lower on the back end. And Sean and I are young bucks, 35, 36 years old. We're hopefully going to be buying and growing out here for the next couple decades. So we have nothing but time on our side, and we're going to take advantage of that.
Well, appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anybody you'd like to mention, and any of your partners that you work with?
Yeah,
on your,
absolutely. I'd love to give a shout out to our property manager, Mid-South Home Rentals, I mentioned. We actually just came from seeing Jay Webb and Rhonda Brown over at the MMDC, the Memphis Medical District Collaborative. They've been wonderful in terms of working with us. We applied for a grant on our 374 North Dunlap property that we were approved for, and we were also approved on some other properties with them. They're doing a lot with the medical district. That's an area that Shaun and I are very bullish on, and we want to continue buying or renovating in that particular pocket. Want to give a shout out to all the contractors that we work with, 901 Home Solutions, Jesse, our fence guy over at at Dunlap from there. Hospitality Hub is Matt Gould is incredible. The man is going to be running for office one day. He is such he's probably in his mid-20s or so, and every time we speak to him, it's just such a feeling. His energy, what he's doing, he's making such an impact in the community. The homeless community out in Memphis, and the Dunlap property, we are working particularly with them. It's a pilot program with the Hospitality Hub in which we are delivering all 10 units to them for their workforce program for dealing with individuals going through situational homelessness, in which they're assisting, teaching them soft skills, personal skills, money management, time management, and then helping them find jobs. And then this is going to be housing for them in the transient time until they are basically collecting a paycheck for a couple months, and they're going to be able to then find places on their own and be cash paying tenants. So this is a really exciting pilot program that we're utilizing with them. So the Hospitality Hub has been a massive partner with us. We actually have housed some of their employees in some of our units as well. So it's been wonderful, and shout out to obviously CoreLend and you guys. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us.
Appreciate that. And then, like, one other question for you too, and I love that you're doing this. It's being out of state, but being local too, it helps to play nice in the sandbox with the locals.
Of course.
And like you mentioned, you going to meet with these people and doing this, if they see that you truly care about this community,
Yeah.
or any community, if you're going to invest in, if you're trying to better that community, you will go so much farther in investing.
Of course, absolutely. And we're all, it benefits everybody. By any out-of-state investor coming in, you're working with local contractors, working with local title companies, working with local loan officers or banks, property managers, providing a clean product for a new tenant, or if we're selling it to an owner-occupant who's going to buy it, and it's only improving the property value. And we all want to see Memphis grow and succeed, and I think that Memphis has so much upside in the next 10, 15 years, and if we can be a small part of it, that makes us feel wonderful. And me and Shawnee were just talking about, we want to maybe buy a little condo out here in the next couple of years, so we actually we don't have to pay these ridiculous prices at the pyramid when we stay.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
Well, Steve, I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you for
It's a
having
pleasure
us.
having you.
Absolutely.
So-
Likewise.
All right, thanks. Okay, now we have Steven Zapalla's partner, Shaun Stone, here with us to answer some questions, kind of more on the operation side when it comes to their investing in multifamily investing here in Memphis and just using hard money lending. So, Shaun, we've got a lot of our borrowers too and a lot out there that they have partners, and they don't always necessarily, they sometimes have trouble with that. So you tell me, what's your role in the operation side of the Zapstone Properties, of what you're doing? Like, how do y'all make this work?
So partnerships is definitely not the easiest thing in the world. When you're partnering with somebody, you got to pick the right person, but you don't want to pick somebody that does what you do. Mm-hmm. You definitely got to pick somebody that does what you don't do. So I'm not the greatest with the paperwork side of things. I let my boy do all that. And my experience comes from running, multiple businesses on Long Island, my electrical company and whatnot, where I employ and delegate to 15 to 20 people a day. So when it comes to operating real estate, I'm dealing with Mid-South, and it's just about building systems and just staying out of each other's way, really.
Exactly, stay in your lane.
Yeah, you have to stay in your lane, yeah. So we don't cross, we don't like, just Steve lets me, have full autonomy when it comes to like renovating the properties and giving my sign off at the very end of it and whatnot. And then we don't step on each other's toes is really the biggest thing.
Okay, and so you said you have a background in being an electrician
Mm-hmm.
on that. So how do you use your knowledge from afar here to make it work to where it's a positive impact for you?
So I started out as I'm third generation electrician, so shout out to my father, my grandfather and whatnot.
Wow.
So, but we were all union employees, and so I learned my standard from the union, and then basically I went through 10 years of apprenticeships and working as mechanics and whatnot, but when I went on my own, I learned how to build systems, and that's the biggest thing, you know. So when you're building a system and having that experience of documenting the system, building SOPs, standard operations, I have my office manager, I have my administrator at work, I have project managers. You know, you can't do everything yourself, so you got to build the team around you. So that's basically what we've done out here, you know, working with Mid-South, managing the properties, our contractors, having the relationship with them, being able to talk the lingo, being blue-collar background, that goes a long way with these guys.
Yeah, I would say that definitely works in our city because we've got, I mean, we are a blue-collar city.
Yeah.
We're a transportation city.
100%, 100%.
So, so on that, like in the operations of, so day-to-day, how did y'all figure out how to delegate to who? Like just to know,
Trial
don't
and
hire
error.
yourself, don't partner with yourself.
Right, right. It takes time to get to that, you know, level of productivity in the beginning and stuff. Again, like Steven said, we had two different property managers in the beginning that it wasn't vibing correctly, you know, wasn't getting the results I was looking for. So that's what led to building the team of contractors and then building the Bible. We call it the Memphis Bible in our office. And
What is that? Okay, elaborate on that.
So that is basically it's like a standard SOP, standard of operations, where if you need to know any type of contacts, it's all documented. So I know who does what, and it's in a Rolodex. So some builders, like Jesse is our fence guy outside work. 901 will do our full turns. They can do ground up construction. Dwayne does ground up construction. You got to know who you're going to pick for which project. Maybe it's too small. You know, with Mid-South, basically, we have a system in place that for all renovation, or service calls, I would call them, a tenant has an issue in their place, and it's a small ticket that's going to be less than $300. We have an automatic system. We just take care of it with the team in-house. Anything over that, I'll analyze and see maybe we have a better fit, maybe a different HVAC company for this type of thing, different plumbers, and I have a full Rolodex of all those people in my Google Drive at all times. So I call it the Bible. So anything you need to know, any person, any lenders, whatnot, you guys are in the Bible too. So, because we have other people that we advise, and we also consult a little bit. So we know who we're going to go for what. It's just like having a quarterback or 3 tight ends that you want to play.
Which one's going to be the best for this
Yeah.
scenario? So tell me, and I didn't ask you about this, what made you pick Memphis? Being from Long Island, what made you
Well,
come
I'll
here?
give a shout out to Steven's girlfriend at this time. All right, Ro? Get in here.
Babe, I forgot to shout you out. So my girlfriend Rosina, she was the main person that brought us out to Memphis. And so she started wholesaling out here, and she had some tremendous success from there. And what good boyfriends at the time and good businessmen, they follow the money. And so
Yeah.
we came out here. She's got about 23 single families herself right now. So I'm sorry, babe, I forgot to shout you out before. Love you. See you at home.
Don't worry. So basically, when she got out here, then, we started looking at tiers. At the time, I was looking to invest. I had just, we had purchased a couple things on Long Island already. So I had already had a couple homes at home. And then we had a duplex out in Mastic, Long Island. And then I bought a building. So I was looking to basically just keep investing, but more in an economical situation. And then talking with these guys, we've been friends since high school. His mother was my first grade school teacher. So
That
shout
sounds
out
like
Mrs.
you just
Apollo.
That sounds about like y'all grew up.
We
here
grew
in
up
Memphis.
together.
But that's the way Memphis is too. There's not a lot
And
of
our buddy
degrees
Josh
separation.
out here, we grew up together, all went to high school. So there's a comfortability with that and building. They're part of the team too. Like if we have questions, we go to them. James Jones, people out here with a tremendous amount of experience. It's just not being shy. You don't know everything.
No, and you are in Memphis long enough, and you'll see that there's not very many degrees of separation between who you know or connections to get to.
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody.
In our
It's-
network now, everybody knows everybody pretty much.
It's
So-
kind of like a big small town.
Yeah, absolutely.
So any questions you have for me?
No, I mean, basically for you guys, it's just, I actually didn't know you guys did property management in the beginning. I didn't know, so, but that's interesting. When I was pulling up, that was the first thing I said. I'm like, you guys do property management too? So, but we really want to turn towards the ground up, and I want to explore those options with you guys. And
And we can do that.
yeah, I'm locating some land right now over in, I won't disclose the locations, but there's a couple people that Jay and Rhonda have put me in touch with, so we're going to be working on that. And
And we're
we
seeing-
definitely want to build.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing new pop-ups. We've got a lot of borrowers that are building ground up new construction to rent.
Right.
And to sell as turnkey rentals or to refinance. And we're seeing that a lot, and in all pockets of the city too.
Yeah,
Where,
we really like working with the hospitality hub. You know, Matt's on a mission that I want to help serve. So if we can locate property and work with them and keep it in our network, to be honest with you, you know, I don't see anything wrong with that.
no, I agree.
Question about the bookcase. So out there's a lot of duplicate books. Is that just if you are part, maybe you work a lot with CoreLend, can you grab a book on the way out? How does that bookcase work? Is it somebody's favorite books, you put one on there?
I'm a big reader myself.
So on that, our owner would probably be able to speak more to that, but that's, a lot of times, we'll have for training for employees or different things like that, like, hey, read this book, we're gonna have meetings about it, talk about it, really to try to better yourselves in your role or become a better leader or knowing how to invest, what smart things to look at, yeah, but those.
What's
there-
your suggestion on books?
A suggestion on books,
What's
so
your
you
top
caught me in a
book right
moment. Mine is my book of trial and error that I've done myself, that, of looking at, but, and just my background, long ago, I started with enterprise rent-a-cars and management training, which many people, so it's, you learn the business sense by basically doing anything and everything, so it is getting, I don't necessarily always go by books, but it's more so put yourself in their shoes, do that role before you decide you can lead that role.
Right. I like that.
So I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah. That's about it.
And thank y'all very much.